back again. We're back like a bad virus you can't get rid of. This is what we're doing, the fourfold formula authors, and this is chat number 4. I've got 3 amazing people, and we are here just giving you a personal little dive into these guys, where we've done some story teasers in the last couple of weeks that gave you a kind of a little bit of a glimpse of their personal stories. So what do we got going on? Markus Wettstein and I are writing a book. We already did it, Fourfold Formula. Book number 1 of 3 of the All Things Wellness series. These guys have written a 2,000-ish word story about personal stories in their heart, spirit, mind, or body. You did it. You did it, you guys. Nene, you guys are going to be famous. Yay, team. Well, and part of the reason why we did it, well, a big part of the reason why is that stories are super important. I say this almost every video. We've been doing it since we were babies. Stories are super important. But we get nervous we're all business people in this room right now. And we get nervous when we start talking about ourselves. So you know how when we back in the day, they said, you better figure out your elevator speech. In less than this many minutes, you should say what you do for a living, and that's kind of easier to do than it is a personal story. Like, Peggy, where'd you grow up? What are your, what is your integrity? What would bend your back if you got TikTok? It's harder. All right, so here we are. Janice, tell us what you do during the day. I always start with this, like the majority of your 168 hours a week. What takes up most of your time? I think we're still working, right?
Well, I say all the time, I work harder on myself than I do on my business. So mostly I wake up and think about what I want to do. And when I was RVing for 3.5 years around the country, that was really easy. Now I'm in the same place. So I create a routine that kind of gets me excited, something a little different, but I'm always trying to move my body first and foremost, because if I don't, the rest of the day is really sluggish. So I find ways to move my body, have fun, do my meditation and prayerful work, and really look and see what I can do to be of service. And that is my day in a nutshell.
No, I love that. That's what we were doing when we talked about these stories. I've met with all of you guys either on the phone or personally in the very, very beginning. And I think one of the things I said the most is don't worry about who's going to read it. Just know somebody is. That somebody will connect, and it could be a year from now that somebody just goes, whoa, I wanted to move to America, right, Nene? And just go, and now this guy did it against all odds. What are you doing during the day, buddy? All day.
Well, so, I work in the law enforcement community, but my passion work is with an organization called Sustainable Initiatives and Alliances for Africa, simply shortly called SIA Africa or SIA Africa, whichever way you want to call it. And so this work, ties a lot into my time during the day, between meetings and phone calls and Zoom calls. And so for me, it covers my, my play and my life.
Yeah, that's how I feel. That's great. That's really good. Let's go on over to your buddy here, because that's how I met you, is this gal over there with the cute little red short sleeve shirt. Sylvie, how are you spending most of your days these days?
Well, I can say now that I spend my day, most of it anyway, doing what I love and loving what I do. Okay. And I've strived, and it's part of my story, to really be able to take care of myself first so I can be a better servant leader. So I'm putting the structure in place, my morning routine. I don't start anything before 9 in the morning, and then, taking time for myself. And the rest is spent between learning, teaching, facilitating, coaching, mentoring, creating. That's basically what I love to do. And that's what I do.
I think.
And once in a while I take a break and I go by the pool to enjoy the summer.
Well, there you go. There you go. I think that's something, now that I hear all of you guys speak, that the 4 of us really do have in common, is we all love what we do. And sometimes it gets us in trouble, because when I was younger with my passion, I could work 20 hours a day and not That was not healthy. But when you love what you do, it can kind of get you in trouble a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go
That's
back
what
to,
I learned.
what's that?
That's what I learned not to do. So that's why my priority is self-preservation first. So
Yes, yes,
learned the
yes,
hard
yes,
way.
yes. Good job. Okay, Janice, I want you to think back. We have so many mentors in our life. So you guys be thinking of this too. Is there a particular memory or lesson you learned from one of your favorite mentors that you kind of think about or live by these days?
Well, really for me, you know, my parents were both entrepreneurs, so it's in my DNA, and they both are my best mentors. Think about them often, both of them. They both had strengths that taught me so much. My dad was very, very successful in business and helped a lot of people over his life. And my mom was very successful creatively. And so I think that for me, just really loving them and thinking they're both gone. So they've passed. And unfortunately, I think of them every single day. And even though they're not here, they're still guiding me constantly and supporting me and telling me to stay an entrepreneur and not let fear ever make a decision for me, because I think entrepreneurs are so wonderful. And I'm so grateful that I was raised by two very strong ones.
That's really good. I love that. Nene, look at you, Nene. I always want to do that dance with you, you know, just Nene. So think about your mentors, and you've had so many. What's one of your mentors, and what sticks with you as a memory?
So, you know, just like, I can remember your name again. What's your name again? Jackie?
Janice.
Janice. Just like what Janice said, I also go with my parents. So my dad was in public service, and then my mom was a little bit of an entrepreneur. So a little bit of both is what has driven me to doing what I do now, especially with my organization, which is like a little bit a mixture of public service and entrepreneurship.
Yes. Sure.
It's, you know, when I look back and look at the lessons that I learned growing up with my dad, always trying to keep us in the straight and narrow, sort of kind of carried it over to where I am now. And
that's awesome.
You know, whenever I look back, you know, my dad has passed, my mom is still alive. And when I look at the sacrifices that they made for me to get to where I am now, you know, it means a lot to me.
Yes. Everybody's going to really see and hear that when they read your story. That's for sure. Sylvie, are you going to copy them? It's okay.
Well, you know, there's so many people, but I have to say yes, because what I realize now is that fundamentally who I am, of course, comes from my parents. I'm going to be 60, and I was raised in a time where we did not necessarily, girls have a lot of freedom. I had all of the freedom that I could have. My parents were not judgmental. They let me do what I wanted to do. They were really supportive of who I was. And my dad was an entrepreneur, so I guess that, you know, I picked part of that. And he always had the human at heart, because I met a lot of people who work for him, and they always say he's one of the only person they would have worked for. And for my mom, worked again, because he was really taking care of people the right way, even in, you know, as a businessman. And my mom, I think I've learned selflessness. My mom was always there for others. She was such a, I call her Saint Jeanne d'Arc number 2, Joan of Arc number 2. You know, how flexible, how much open she was.
Acts of service, love language is a commonality right here in this.
Yeah. And the last point I'm going to say is that, you know, and I know it's a reality, don't get me wrong, okay? I know it's a strong reality that women still have difficulties in you know, discrimination. But since I've entered the workforce in 1980, I never felt that, because I never felt that anything was I had no limits. I could do whatever I do. So that's what my parents gave me.
Yeah. Mic drop. I don't have my mic here because I'm not in my own office, but you guys know, if you know me, I have a mic and I just drop it right there. All right, so now we're going to go to lunch. 3 of us are going to go to lunch. Yeah. Oh, where do you want to go? I'm going to send my jet to pick you up. Okay, we're going to lunch and there are 4 tables. I'm making this up as I go along, so I don't know where we're going. There are 4 tables and each of us get to bring somebody either who is, you're asked this many times in your life, but somebody who has passed on or is still alive. Who do you want to have lunch with? Nene, who do you want to have lunch with?
I think I want to have lunch with General Colin Powell.
Well, that's amazing. What is one trait of his that you really respect?
You know, I feel like he's one person who always spoke his mind. Didn't matter what was happening. And I think he was straight and, narrow. Like I said, my dad instilled in me. So I think it was him.
There you go. There's a commonality there. Okay, Janice, you guys are like in the corner over there. Who are you sitting with?
Well, I mean, I feel like I'm a broken record, but of course I'd want to have lunch with my mom and dad.
Yeah, that's what I suspected that you'd say.
I mean, because they're just so near and dear to me. I'm looking over to the right on my thing and I have a picture of both of them. I mean, it's just, I'm very inspired by them and I miss them. But, there's a lot of wonderful people that have been out there in the world sharing things that I would love to sit down and have. I'd like to have lunch with Mark Twain. I think that would be a kick. And, smart people like Einstein and different people that have come over the years would be really fun because I've always been curious and a learner, and I would love to hear about, things that have from people that have come up with major ideas. The name of my business is Smart Ideas Now, and that's because I've always just been one to look for creative ideas and solutions, and that came from my mom and my dad. So
there you go.
I would love to have lunch with them and tell them what's going on in my life right now. I think they would be really happy.
That they're watching. Okay, Sylvie, I see you over there ordering your hors d'oeuvres with who? Who is that?
Well, 3 people.
Oh my gosh, of course you're going to break the rules. Gosh.
Of course, I'm a rule breaker, okay? I'm a disturber. So Oprah and Barack Obama, because for me, there are so much people that are at the service of others, yet they're powerful. They assume who they are. And the third one, because anyway, for me, she's such an accomplished person. It's Barbara Streisand. Because of everything she's done in her life, like for 7 decades, she's been leading.
I don't think I've ever had anybody say that. That's fantastic. Good. Yeah. I thought I heard her singing over there, but
Yeah. Great.
Okay.
Anyway.
No. I love that. I would have to have lunch with Kristen Bell because I love sloths and I know she'd let me hold hers. I'm just kidding. All right. Let's tie this up about the book. So we have been together. We've gotten to know each other like for 6 or 7 months. So what is something that you've learned about yourself that kind of came up to the top that maybe you didn't know was there or has evolved over the last few months? Nene?
I think what I've learned about myself is having strong mental fortitude. And that has kept me grounded and helped me appreciate just the little things in life.
Wow. Because this was a big step for you. I remember you were sitting on a park bench when we were talking and there were people going by and, of course we never met before. So you took a while to think about it, to bring your story out. So I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, Janice, what have you learned?
Well, I just think it confirmed that I really do like writing, and writing's very healing for me. And I learned that I can maybe say less and still get the same impact because I had to cut those words out. I tend to talk a lot, but it's fun. I've also learned that there's so many more chapters of ideas and things I'd like to write about, but I really do feel that writing is very healing, and I'm on this journey, and it's just been a great addition to what I've been doing. And I've loved connecting and reading other people's stories. You know, it's so interesting to see that we all have such diversity, yet we're all so very similar. And so it's been fun.
It is. It is. I've said that all along as well, that I remember when Marcus and I first started this journey to write this book together, and he said to me, well, what if we get all these stories that are exactly alike? And I was like, oh, we're going to be just fine. They could all be about love, and they're still going to all be different. So it's been amazing. Sylvie, what has bubbled to the top for you? What did you learn?
Well, another thing that I saw my mom being such a resilient person, and I never thought I was, but what I realized is that I'm so resilient and perseverant, and despite the ups and downs, whatever, yeah, I'm resilient and I keep going. And even though there's hard days, great days, overall, I'm so grateful for the life that I have and people like me.
That's a common, thread too, because I've been blessed to hold all your stories and the resiliency, and then never, always stand back up. And it doesn't matter how low the low is or how high the high is, because you're all amazing people. So sometimes the depth is as low as the high can be when we're doing great. So the fall can seem really far sometimes, but the resiliency, the emotional resiliency of all you guys, very proud of you. All right, so the book's going to come out this summer. It really is. And you're going to be having some interviews with all sorts of lovely people, our media partners, and you're going to have a following. Do not stand up tall. No imposter syndrome. Is there anything else? Let's see, Nene. What's the final word you'd like to have today?
I just want to say that using experiences like this and the network that I've sort of kind of found with this group, it's helping me with some of the things that I'm trying to do, which is to facilitate the idea of matching resources to opportunity, needs, by turning ideas into action and doing good, and doing well at the same time.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Janice, final words for all your listeners.
I'm just really looking forward to the ride to come, and I'll be sharing the book a lot. I'm good at that.
That's great.
And I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Sylvie, any final words for all your new followers?
Yes. In 2018, I was in New York with a friend, and I took a picture in front of the New York Times, and I said, one day I'll be a New York Times best-selling author. I'm not there yet, but
not yet.
It's a step, and I want to take this opportunity to thank Janice, because I don't think that there's any coincidence in life, and I'm someone who's always open for opportunities. I connected with Janice, and just because we had an open discussion, she just opened. She says, hey, there's this book. I think you would love it. And and it was like, yeah, okay, let's go. And how it happened that I did it. So, and
absolutely. And that is a message. That's a message that I'd love to leave tonight with this particular group, because it literally just dawned on me. Because I have all these people to try to get together, but it's not strategic. I mean, Janice just came into this. I talked to her yesterday. Hey, are you available tomorrow night? But in looking at you guys and realizing how important community is and relationships are, the three of you are talking to me right now because of the three of you already having a relationship. Janice reached out to Sylvie. Sylvie reached out to you, buddy. And so if that doesn't show you just how amazing spiderweb is of life, and then we've got to share with people what we're doing. Because look, this is great.
I love it. I'm so happy. And I brought in my friend Susan too, which she'll hopefully be able to get on with you. And I know Sylvie brought in someone else. And so this is just exciting to be able to connect these stories. Thank you to you.
And learning to offer, learning to offer. I knew Nene, I didn't know that really wanted to write a book, but my first thing is I knew how his organization was important to him. And I said, it might be a way for you to get exposure for SI.
That's right.
And that's how I just opened it. That's
right. All right, for you guys out there, we have book 2. We're recruiting right now for book 2. There's reservations. You can go on to allthingswellness.com/author. You really can't get lost in there. Just start poking buttons and it's going to take you somewhere really fun. And so it's the same setup. 30 contributing authors, the same media partners. And there's one thing I'd really like to say for business owners or people who have written before. If you've written before, this is a great way to dust off what you already did. Hey, look, and we tie it together, right? We say, look, I wrote a new book. This is fantastic. And it's a great way to consider it as a tax deduction. And I know that everybody has their own accountant, but think about this opportunity. We've got your contact information, your photo, you're talking about what you do, you've got your words out there. So from a business perspective, this gives you a handheld, I know Janice is getting ready to go coach, but this gives you a handheld, swag, whatever, merch for you to be able to do your speeches and everything. So I love you guys. I will talk to you real soon. Carry on.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.